everybody, it's Anastasia Logan here, and I am your host of Meet the Muses, and today we are going to be chatting with Heavenly Faded from New York. So we're just gonna wait for them to get here. Here they are, so let's get started.
Okay.
Hi, friends.
Oh, you hear us okay?
Yeah, I hear y'all beautifully.
All right, cool. Okay. Uh, this is like our first interview ever, right?
More or less.
As a band, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so exciting. I'm honored. So, just go around, introduce yourselves, let people know who you are, what instrument you play in the band, just so people know.
Yeah, I'm Lewis. I sing and play guitar in the synthesizers.
Oh, I'm Jared. I play the drums.
I'm Greg, the bass player.
I'm Jake. Play guitar, sing vocals, backing vocals.
Awesome. All right, so let's talk whales. I went through some of y'all's cute little whale vlogs, which we're gonna get into later. But I want to know a little bit more the inspiration behind creating the single and sort of y'all's headspace when you were creating and writing and the whole creative process.
Well, that kind of
That's a big question.
that's actually about a 2-year-old demo that I think I conceived of it back in 2019. I was messing around on one of my guitars. It's a 12 string, but I had just the 6 strings on it, and it had this nice chimey sound. So I had the basic picking pattern, kind of like a Smith-ish Johnny Marr sort of feel. The chorus had slightly different chords, and then I think it was Reich who suggested that we switch around one of the chords, and more or less that's about it. And then I had basic bits and pieces of the vocal melody. Lewis sort of ironed it out and tuned it to his voice. He handles mostly the verses. I sang the choruses, and there you go. And then Jared, tracked everything. We tracked everything primarily under Jared's instruction, and he helped shape the sound and get it to where it is now. And we're really pleased with the result. Yeah.
Anyone else? Oh, go ahead.
I don't know what else to say. We started with Jake, and we most of the stuff we've been working on lately. We just take a collaborative approach, and mostly because we're not all the richest people, we try to do everything ourselves, and we take pride in that, I think. And we've been learning a lot through the process, and
The song really took shape when we entered pre-production and started kind of putting it under this microscope. And we figured out a lot of the really cool parts. I mean, there was 60 guitars on it
Ultimately,
yeah. So it was a pretty big production. It was a lot of fucking fun though.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost when you're tracking something, when you're playing it in the rehearsal studio, different harmonics are interacting with each other. It has a live feel. And then in the studio, it's almost about building it sequentially back up to that point. And it requires, a lot of layering and panning. And, it's like architecture in a way.
Yeah, I would say, in my opinion, the fun part is creating the song, and then it gets a little frustrating when you're recording and editing and taking things out and putting them in. And then at the end of it, when it comes out, it came out better than we expected. I think the frustration was worth it, and it helped us bond more, and we understand each other better, and we know what to expect from each other, and we definitely try to motivate each other to be our best. And I think that shows. So yeah.
All right, so we're gonna do some comparing and contrasting. So how do you consider Whale standing out to the other singles and work that y'all have released in the past year?
How do we see it standing out? It's a fuck ton better. That's my initial response to that.
That's the right answer. That's the right answer.
It's the only answer, really. No, I mean, we did the False Memories EP back in 2020. That was sort of our first dive into DIY recording. And for where we were at, I mean, I thought that stuff, it came out really well. And it was sort of just this really great place for us to launch. And we learned a lot throughout that process. And yeah, I mean, I think by doing that ourselves initially, when we came to approach Wales, it was like, let's sit down, let's think about this, let's like really take the time to do everything properly, because we're trying to, you know, penny pinch here and there so we can, you know, put together a proper marketing campaign to get all of our music out there. And it was definitely a big, in terms of songwriting, I feel like it was a big step up.
Yeah.
From most of that EP and production, definitely.
Yeah, oh, definitely the production. Yeah, I mean, I would even say, you know, musically, performance-wise, the last EP, it was all there. I just think in the act of actually constructing it and getting all the tracks together and the layering, we came out of it having learned a lot of lessons that we were able to implement into this next project, which is, you know, it's always good. I mean, it's a forward progression, but I think it was like a really big step forward. And we're going to carry that into what we continue to do next. You know, I'm excited about like our future work, sort of demonstrating a lot more like a little bit more like musicality. I think we have a lot to offer coming up. Anybody else have to?
Yes.
You just agree with everything.
Yeah, what he said.
I concur. What was the question?
Comparing.
Yeah.
It's just way more polished. I think that this was one of the major stepping
Yeah.
stones here, right?
Yeah.
It's like you mentioned before, Jared, it's like we sort of nailed that workflow down a lot, sort of figuring out how to do it in the first place. That was what the last EP was about, and this time it was just like, how can we make it actually super good?
Yeah.
And just get it right. So I think that we just spent a lot of time just like over details, and it came out. It was worth it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the pandemic was like a blessing for us in a way, because it kind of gave us that period where like we weren't expected to like go perform or do anything like that. It gave us time to just like take it slow and really like focus
Build a sound.
and build a sound, exactly, because we I and Reich, we were a different version of Heavenly Faded before. Like we added Jake and Jared afterward, around early 2020, and we kind of were like in limbo. We didn't know what we were gonna do, what we were gonna sound like. We had, you know, totally different people before with different tastes.
Different lead singer.
Different lead singer too, and that also like gave me time to like feel more confident as a singer and get better as a singer. And yeah, all in all, I think when you look at it from like what we got out of it, I think it was a weird time, painful time, frustrating time, but it also like made us grow. And I think that's always true with a lot of big changes in people's lives. I think, you know, it's weird while it's happening and you don't know how it's going to turn out, but at the end of it, I think it's worth going through that to grow and be the truer version of who we want to be.
And whenever you have different people in the band, it's going to sound different, no matter what. Even if the same basic ethos is there, just everybody has like a different way of approaching. And your influences rub off on each other. Like I'll be influenced by something that, you know, Reich might do, or the way Jared might approach a certain beat, and it'll make me think in a way that I wouldn't normally have thought of before. So, you know, that adds an extra layer to it.
Nice. Okay, so I'm now gonna dive into the marketing of this single, because y'all did mention that, and now we're gonna talk about it. Because I specifically would like to talk about whose idea was it for the little video game, the little, you know, whose idea was that? Because I think that's absolutely brilliant.
We think so too.
Thank you.
I think that was me.
Yeah. It was Jared's idea to sort of come up with that interactive medium to sort of engage with the listener, and then it was basically, I think it was you and I that came up with the actual concept of what the game would be.
Yeah, that was collaborative.
That was collaborative,
And then
sort of I took it from there.
This guy built all of it in-house. I mean, again, you know, we're trying to put as much into this as we can, but we all have a pretty limited spending budget on this. I mean, I think time. Yeah. But all of the entire marketing campaign, all of the assets were created for $0.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just all a collective effort. I also like help design like the characters and stuff. So like I do a lot of like drawing and stuff like that. But I've never done like pixel art or like video game characters. So I didn't even know where to start. So kind of took the time to plan things out. We discussed like what we wanted it, like the progression to be like, what the goal was of the game, how we wanted it to look. Yeah, so it was pretty much they did a lot of the heavy lifting, but they, we worked together. It's a good example of how when we work together, we can create something great, I think.
Well, one of our best assets is that we all kind of have like a multimedia approach to it. We all have tastes in, not just music, but also visual presentation, marketing. Like Jared, specifically brought in like a lot of, interesting ideas and interesting ways of looking at how to actually push the single, because as important as actually writing and recording the music is, I mean, ultimately that's the most important thing. You need to get it to people's ears, and you need to put it in a way that actually makes them want to listen to it. And for me, the video game, when they brought it up, I was like, I had never heard of a musical artist like marketing a single primarily through a video game, and I was like, this is a great idea. It's novel.
Yeah. And funnily enough, after we kind of wrapped it up, I mean, I stole the idea from a release with the English R&B singer Cara Marnie. She did a video game when she did a collaborative single with Russ. And as we wrapped up our video game, Jason Mraz put out one. I think there were a handful of other major label artists that were doing the same thing. So it ended up working out really, really well. Yeah. Definitely proud of how it all came together.
Yeah, no, I've even some artists that I know, for example, their name is Pennyboard, they're based in Denton, and they did not like an interactive game in the sense of like an action game in that sense, but it was also that concept of like they created a website, they created the content because they wanted their fans to interact in order to promote their music. And so I definitely think that a lot of people want to stay traditional of like, oh, well, we can just market it online. And it's like, yes, you can. But half of marketing a single or a song is to get your audience excited. So I think that's exactly what it did, because it's like I've been, running around in life recently, and so I didn't even notice. And then I was looking back at y'all's Instagram, and I'm like, ooh, wait, game, that's cool. I need to mention that. And so I just think it's absolutely brilliant of like people and artists are kind of determining new ways to market their music in quote unquote unconventional ways, because they're realizing that they can't do what they've always done. And so it's really exciting to sort of see that adapting throughout the music scene.
Yeah, and also like next to marketing it and getting it under people's ears, basically, the other thing is also how you can sort of interact and experience the music besides just listening to it as a track on Spotify. So like one of the things that everybody has been doing music videos, of course, for the last 3-4 decades, or however long since cameras have existed, basically. But this is also just a fun new way to sort of achieve the same thing you would achieve with a music video, except really draw in the listener an extra level, pun intended, by having them actually play the game and then interact with the music that way. So like a big part of the focus in this video game was too to make sure that like the little things like the gaps are always on beat with the track and that sort of stuff. It was all made sure that like your character runs on the beat and that sort of stuff. So we wanted to make sure that the song didn't become just a background music for a random game, but that it was all part of the same. What did you call it earlier? It was like a creative landscape.
Oh, imaginary landscape.
The imaginary landscape. Exactly.
And if you're playing the game a repeated number of times, you're going to hear the music again and again, and you can sit with it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget, we also made a 8-bit version of the game, of the song, for the game. So
that was fun.
Yeah, that was cool, and I actually love I've already like listened to the song so many times. I prefer to listen to the 8-bit version now because I can just put it in the background. I'm just like, cool, we did this. That's cool. Yeah. But yeah, just to cap it off, like it's so hard to like stand out, especially in this age of like just like TikTok and everything's just in your face. So like
Content overload.
exactly. So we have to like think out of the box and think of ways like to stand out, and yeah, it's really difficult, but it's fun, and I'm glad we did it.
I'm glad y'all did it too. I've also noticed y'all are back to playing shows, and y'all have just been promoting your shows left and right. Y'all did one today or the other day. So how do y'all feel with being able to play shows again? How has that sort of helped you guys come together as a band and help expand your music to new audiences? How has it been being back?
Oh, it scratches an itch, really.
We spent. Yeah, I'll start first. Like we said, we started we started the new band like at the beginning of the pandemic, so like we didn't get to play for like a whole year or a year and a half, and we were just craving. But again, like we took the time to just like develop our sound and develop our chops and get to know each other better. And then our first show back was in the summer, like in June, and that was like super fun. It kind of solidified like the reasons why we play together, and like we felt really confident and really good about continuing. And yeah, like sometimes you forget like why you play music, and then you get on stage and then you get to see people like join you love, and it's my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah. It really gives like a great sense of camaraderie as well, because when you're playing and you show up to the venue and there are other bands on the bill playing, it gets you, not that it's like a competitive endeavor necessarily, but in a way it really is. I mean, you come together, and we're so used to scrutinizing our own music under a microscope when we're actually writing it, that then when you put it up against like what else you're playing with, you become proud of what you've done and of how the sound is. And I mean, ultimately the end result is you're directly giving your music to people out in an audience, and there's nothing quite like that sensation.
It's that feedback loop.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's definitely. I mean, it's a fucking blast.
It's a blast. Yeah.
To put it,
it's just fun.
sort of bluntly, I guess. I mean, that's always kind of the next question is like, you guys can get together and be in a room and write cool music, but are you able to get on stage and put on a show and enjoy yourselves? Because I feel like it's so easy, especially with where we're at, with doing everything in-house. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's so easy for this to become sort of this stressful, miserable experience.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tell us how you really feel, Jack.
It's like, practicing in a room is so different from making a record. It's so different from being on stage. Like, there's all these aspects to it, and I mean, we're definitely blessed that we all are able to wear so many different hats.
Exactly.
And like getting on stage with these guys was definitely like, okay, like this is. I mean,
it's
a new side.
Yeah,
it was great.
It was great, and it was a long time coming too, because I joined the band. One of the primary reasons, one of the things that attracted me to it, apart from liking the music that already existed, was that they were getting a lot of live work. And I was really, excited to start playing live. We had a whole slew of shows pretty much booked before the pandemic happened. And as soon as it happened, but again, as Lewis said, it gave us a chance to just like really hone our craft. And as far as the live circuit is concerned, we're a relatively new band, but we do not sound or look like one, which is great,
Yeah, and I think we're just looking forward to like growing our following as much as possible. Not our last show, but the second to last show we played, which was our second show ever. We got like a pretty big crowd, and like I'm not used to playing with like that many people at all. So we got like everybody like dancing and stuff, and I like opened my shirt and I was sweating, and I was just like, I love this, man, and it was so fun.
That's when he became a true lead singer.
Fuck yeah. And our next show is October 29th, so anybody who's watching, you better be there. It's going to be like Halloween weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna dress up or anything, but we wanted to.
You'll have to come to find out.
We'll keep that as a surprise.
And we want to bring as many people as possible. So. And yeah, we're doing it with Gig Finesse. It's a company that we work with at that second show too, and they're really cool for any other musicians out there that want to work with them. What are you guys whispering about? What y'all whispering about?
We're whispering about the fact that it's also going to be our next single release.
Oh yeah.
As of right now, we're planning. Yeah, we're actually in the middle of recording vocals right now.
Yeah, this is our recording room right now.
Yeah.
All the stuff is over here.
So
You
when
can't
is
see
that
it.
single you said?
It's going to be coming out October 29th.
That's it.
And,
Okay, that's it. You said it.
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
It's called Unknown, and yeah, it's a darker kind of song. Wales is a lot like more energetic and stuff. It still has some of those like melancholic kind of feels to it, but this one is a little more dark. Yeah.
Now that one was the definition of collaborative effort in the sense that everybody came in with their own parts completely. It evolved out of a jam session. Lewis, the vocal melody, he came up with it in like a spontaneous way. The song really came together, and that was one where we spent like a little bit of time actually making sure that the arrangements were nice and tight. But I think that we really hit on a good balance here.
Yeah, this is going to be a very different picture.
Definitely.
Like, we're really excited about it.
Between hard edge and like atmospherics, I think we have it. We've got it all in this track.
Yeah, I think it's perfect for Halloween too. It's like definitely fits the vibes.
Certainly.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out.
We might start wearing eyeliner and stuff.
Well, that's exciting. I did not know that we were gonna do this interview, and then y'all are gonna be like, "Oh, surprise! By the way, we're coming out with something else." I always love when that happens, when all of a sudden they're just like, "Oh, and we're doing this too," and I'm like, "Oh, you weren't gonna mention that."
I think this is about Wales, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's okay.
I'm sorry about that.
Oh no, you're fine. It's more exciting me randomly learning things in the middle of an interview, because then I can be like, I can ask about that, but now I'll just like schedule another interview with y'all so y'all can talk about that single again, because that's just what we're doing now. So that's exciting. I definitely cannot wait for like getting closer to October, because I'm like, I know more people are gonna be like, it's spooky season, here's a spooky single, and I'm like, yes, keep doing it.
And we don't know if we're gonna make like a music video or something like that. We're thinking about other marketing techniques for this one too.
Yeah. I think we're looking at potentially doing it in I know I threw out a location of an abandoned prison. So that could be a trip and a half.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can make that happen. Or some wood.
A lot of cool stuff on the table.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I love little surprises like this. Okay, now it's like derailed all of my questions. So I'm like, of course I'm working on a new single, of course. Yeah, no, going back to our concert questions that we were chatting about, do y'all have like any favorite like back to concert moments that you can remember, like something happened at a show and you're like, oh, that was so like funny or cool or wild or weird, anything like that?
Me, again, the second to last show we played at the Delancey, it was really fun, and then we like got off stage and everybody was like feeling good, and I just had like multiple dudes just come up to me like, dude, you guys are awesome, man, this is so fucking awesome. And I was like, thank you, man, thank you, and that's great, it feels great, but it gets a little funny sometimes. And,
Yeah, I think it was a nice moment like that show that we played at the Stonewall Inn, that little park in front. Because it was a show at night, and we were still. This was in July, right?
June.
Yeah. It was pretty early this year, and the park rangers were all present because everything was still a little sort of iffy with the COVID thing. So we were the last set to play, so there were just like park rangers standing by to shut it all down basically. And then right after our set, just like I saw this during the last song, just like a couple of them were just off dancing on the side, and it was just so much fun to see everybody just having a blast with it, and not sort of like everything is, New York's back, baby.
I think there was also a guy who like a homeless dude, because this was like a public park, so he just like sat in front of us, I think he was like smoking crack or something.
New York.
New York.
But
Yeah.
I was just like, I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, we're back. Nice.
Exactly.
The-
Welcome back, New York City.
The thing that sticks out to me personally about that show is that by the time I got there, they were running a little early, and I'm hearing our band's name being called as I'm walking to the park, and I'm like, this is great. What a great way to do our first live show.
That was actually a part of the reason we chose the game.
Yeah.
It was like running across the
That's
room.
right.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That was
The
the inspiration.
narrative of the game was supposed to be like first show, and we're running across New York City trying to get there on time.
Yeah.
That's
Hoping that Jake makes it.
that was funny.
Yeah.
What else happened?
I mean, that was a good. Again, that was a good way to kind of get the ball rolling with live shows because, again, outdoor. I mean, me personally, like I haven't played, too many outdoor shows in my career so far, and for us to sort of kick it off doing it like that was good. No sound check, obviously, so it gets you, kind of stoked a little bit to go out there. The nerves are kind of at like the right level where you start to just kind of hone in, and the band comes together, and it was great. I think we played really well. We sounded well. And everybody looked like they were enjoying it, which was the most important thing.
Yeah. What's some of the funny show moments? That was the question.
Moments, yeah.
Or just weird moments, I guess.
Weird
We haven't played enough shows to really.
Huh?
I do feel
Oh, at the Delancey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
right.
played
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
We were talking to a member of one of the other bands.
Yeah.
We won't name names here.
Yeah.
But he was repeatedly falling into a pile of trash on the side of the road.
He was repeatedly praising our shit too, though. So I mean,
very true.
whether it was the inebriation or we were just, remains to be
We'll
seen.
go with
Yeah.
we were so
were good.
impressive that we knocked him into the car.
I'll go with that. I'd like to go with that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, listen, if this city has a venue, we want to play it.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say funny things are cool, weird things are always funny. But when you get like a reaction out of people like that, like, you get like a really like
Visceral.
it's like you never expect it. At least at our level right now, like we just think like, oh, nobody gives a crap who we are, you know what I mean? But you get someone just like coming up to you, like the first show we played at the Stonewall
Stonewall.
the Stonewall Ball for Pride. He was across the street from the Stonewall, and yeah, but like one kid in the crowd, he just like he like you could hear it in one of our videos. He's like, "You guys was amazing." And every time I get that, like sometimes I get that imposter syndrome where I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about, but that always like feels awesome.
But that speaks to how serious we are about putting all the craft together, because we are so blunt with ourselves and with each other about what's working, what's not working, why it's not working, that to actually go out and play before other people, that sense of perfectionism really starts to pay off, because you just see how polished and how good it sounds live. And that being said, I mean, we also, thankfully we have areas in the show where there's room for some jamming, some improvisation. Like Lewis has this one song where he puts a capo on his guitar, and the capo kind of pulls the strings sharp a little bit, so he needs a couple of seconds to sort of tune the guitar and get it ready to go. So we turn that into like a little extension of a jam session, and it's good because every night like there's like a little part of the show where you don't quite know what you're going to do, and you get to introduce that spontaneity a little bit. Keep on your toes.
Awesome. Anything else that y'all want to say, mention, comment about before we hop off? Because I know y'all got plans, and I'm trying to keep y'all at that 30-minute mark like we agreed to.
Finish this record is what we gotta do right now.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that's in New York, come out to the show. We're playing East Berlin on October 29th. Doors are at 6:45. And if everything goes according to plan, we'll be putting out a new single that day too.
Absolutely.
And keep playing the video game and let us know your high score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're working on merch too. So this is one of the
yeah.
shirts We did like a
That's
test.
right. I
test
totally
run.
forgot about that.
He totally planned this.
Buy our stuff.
We hope to have like a bunch of maybe t-shirts, maybe mugs or lighters. I don't know. We're trying to think about that stuff.
Figuring it out.
Probably have that as well for that show, and maybe.
Just another aspect of the multidisciplinary approach of this band.
There's a lot to talk about. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Of course. It was fun.
So nice to meet you.
Yes.
How are you, by the way?
I'm in Texas, so all right. I am gonna let you guys go so you can be productive. But this was fun. I look forward to hearing your new single you're working on, and I will write the review for the current single y'all have released.
Thank you.
But of course, y'all have a good one.